Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it's summer. Welcome everyone here this evening, and we're going to move forward with, since no one's here for public comments, we welcome those of you who are streaming the meeting live. We'll move on to presentations. I don't think we have any presentations tonight, do we? Communications?
We did receive a note from FFA. Dear Dr. Stanifer and the school board, the Blue Ridge FFA leadership team appreciates your continued support of our chapter and our leadership retreat. Through this retreat, we have been able to gain new skills, grow as a team, and set new goals for this upcoming year. We thank you for all of your support and your help throughout the year. Blue Ridge leadership team, and they all signed it.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on to administrative reports. Dr. Stanifer?
Okay, that would be me. As you can see from the outside of the building, we are ready to go. We're ready to have school. Adults come, we've had many adults in our buildings already doing trainings, but we will have our curriculum day on Monday, the 15th. We will have our institute day on Tuesday, the 16th. We'll do that in Mansfield this year. And then we will have our kiddos day through Friday, and those will be shortened days ending at 2:20. I do want to emphasize that we will have our first night event here on the Farmer City campus on Monday, and at that time we have some board members who are going to be passing out both BREF information and also cards, meal for purchase, boosters. Both of the buildings on the Farmer City open for us to come in, and the high school this year is encouraging all students, not just new students, to come for an activity fair. And then Tuesday we'll have another first night over in Mansfield, and Kona Ice will 25% of all sales will go back to the boosters, which will positively impact students in our schools. And then Mr. Huddleston will be with 4th grade families first, and then with 5, 6 together, and then get a chance to know him a little bit, and he can explain to parents some what his goals are for the year, and go to their lockers and classrooms and take a look. So that is my report. I do the budget part. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Did you receive the latest on?
No, ISB has not communicated again.
Right.
And then I will go through the report. And Ryan, I don't know if you guys want to take a look at this since you don't see it on your screen. I wanted to follow along a little bit. I will. The budget, the month of August, is a very tentative budget. I really want to simply read some of the pages and more of our information. Anything can change between now and when we ask you to approve the final budget in September. I wanted to kind of do a little bit of education as we had talked about for us this year. So on page 2 of the budget, attention to 3. That's our estimated beginning fund balance. So auditors, and so we don't have fund balances there, but across the board, the education fund is coming in at a $4.9 million balance, which is a very healthy place to be. I want to point out in line 3, column I, our working cash. Right there, just over $630,000. That's sitting in there, if you remember, from the refinancing of the bond issues. I think that was just the last school year. That money to transfer into capital for the building of the transportation, and the rest is sitting inside of working cash. Then I want to bring your attention to line 8. You can get a good idea of local money, so our tax dollars. Those are distributed between our funds. Then if you hop down a couple rows to row 7, our state sources, you can see this, as I notice, is our state funding is small in comparison to our local dollars that fund our schools. And then you look down to federal, not a very large number, but just shy of $1 million in the education fund. Probably the most of what you're seeing right there, grant money still. And then if you look down at line 11, I have mine highlighted across, total receipts, and again, these are still very rough us to all of these across, but less than the expenditures right now. So it looks like we're anticipating in the ed fund bringing in over $8 million. You can walk all the way down the line to the right to see what we're expecting funds. Then I'll bring your attention down to line 21. That's the total disbursement. These are very rough numbers, so I'd like to think that that would be a good educated guess in Fund 10, but it's not. It's going to be higher than that, and we just needed a little bit more time to put some other numbers in. There's many numbers that don't come in until the last minute. For example, our corporate personal property replacement tax, that was a mouthful. That information just came in today, and our EBF funding for the state, that information came in earlier this week. I do want to point out well, let me go down one more row to line 22. Let's see, excess of direct receipts over expenditures. So you're looking to see, are you coming out positive or negative for your budget? And again, these are not accurate numbers. Attention to F. We have it estimated, which could be fair, is that we would have a deficit of over $200,000. Districts, all districts, because we don't get all of our reimbursement for the transportation fund. So that is an area for us to be mindful of. I want our attention up at the very top. It shows that we have an estimated fund balance in capital project, $342,000. We're anticipating only bringing in through taxes just over $25,000. That we're going to have expenditures of about $300,000. That's the remaining portion of paying for the office building. So, 22, that would be at a deficit in that capital projects area, but because if you consider the opening balance and paying out the $300,000, we're going to be okay. You don't want to have a large excess amount of money in capital projects. Not the easiest fund. Out the work. One area I know of, column J, line 21, says we're estimated expenditures in the tort fund of $537,694. That's not correct. There's a mistake in the budget on the computer right now. I more like 262,000. So we will have a deficit there, not nearly what you're seeing right now. So, say Fund 10, don't have a great estimate right now, but we do have fund balance. Knew when we did our negotiations that we would anticipate having another deficit year. That intentionally because of the fund balance that we have and knowing that wind farms are. Let's see, in fund, definitely feel like we have made some progress. Our not hemorrhaging money in the Mansfield building for HVAC. I hesitate to say that out loud, but we've done much better over the last 6 to 9 months. Debt service, we ask what we need, pay our bond and interest, and we pay it. So that fund is fine. Fund 40 for transportation, that's an area of concern. Fund 50, we, for the last couple of years, have been using or buying it down a little bit, so our expenditure just a little $15,000 conventional. Capital projects, like we said, we don't want to have a and what we to finish up the healthy working cash balance. Column J has some errors in it, but I will say for Prairie State and all of insurance right now. I don't know if you've seen pretty hard as well, but those insurance costs are skyrocketing. And then fire prevention and safety, that's where HLS money would go into if we did HLS bonds. Right now we have a balance of around $240,000. Again, we can't use that yet on any 10-year project until we get approved, and there's no movement going on. So, questions on the very tentative budget?
Good evening. So we have been extremely busy over the last 2.5 school, and so we had about students attend consistently over those 2 weeks. We also work currently this week Jumpstart, so that is where we bring our kindergartners in to kind of go through 2 days of learning about classroom procedures and routines, building relationships. We had a group on Monday, Tuesday, and then we have the other half that came and then tomorrow. So those are both great programs. We're very thankful for all the teachers that have put in their time over the summer, not only with the planning, but providing great assessment and then instruction. So we're very thankful to all of the teachers that have been there to support that this summer. Pre-K screenings we had at the end of July. We screened about 25 kids, and we're still currently putting those classes, but it looks like we may even have a potential wait list, still waiting on it. Lots of new teacher trainings that have been coming about. They've been training all this week. We've had several trainings over the past couple of weeks. Are getting things ready, and I'm very excited for the school year to start. We have some really great and always a great return as well. During graduation, we had on Thursday 20 new students, K through 3, that have come in, which is pretty amazing. Our class lists and class sizes vary anywhere from 16 in second grade all the way up to 25. So we be a little bit larger in third grade, but we're very at third section of second grade, which allowed us to have sections of 16, 17, 17. So very manageable and very good class size, that small room instruction and so on. Yeah, I think that's all that I have today. We're very excited for the school year to start. We've been extremely busy. Today we had a 3-hour ILT meeting, which was great, really talking about systems things that will help really improve things throughout the district. We're very excited to be. Great question. So that is something that we did get some sign up. I haven't got a final number, so they did change the supervisor for that. They're actually first night as well, coming to that event. I also know the individuals that came, we had at least 6 to 7 families during registration that signed up, and that was really not including that have confirmed in the past. So the goal, and we're hoping that will be able to continue. They had mentioned that if by November, I think was the date, that if they did not students, then program. I'm hoping that can continue to build that program, because I think it's very beneficial for our families. So that's the afternoon session, that AM session, that it could be really beneficial to have in a community service that I know many are looking for. So we actually will have a representative coming to first night, which is on Monday. We'll also have an individual coming, I believe it's called CCAP, but it's a financial assistance program, and so looking for financial assistance with daycare. They will actually be able to sign up and go through some grants or some financial assistance program. So they will be available at first night to get access to that one program and reduce funding.
Good evening, everybody. Excuse me. Again, just spent the last 2 weeks wrapping up our summer. Came from 8:30 to 11:30 every day. We averaged between 24 and 25 students each day in our different grade levels. Teachers worked very hard, did a lot of planning, worked well with the kids. Them a nice experience to try to help jumpstart on some of the gaps that they've had, either through some of their time off or just ways that were identified with their at the and it gave me an opportunity to meet some of the students and their families, start building some of those relationships that I'm. We've had some staff changing around at our building. The big ones, excuse me, getting over. Forgive me. We've had some positions posted since before I specifically a 6th grade position and what's my other
Art and
position?
music.
Yeah, art and
Yeah.
music. We have music with some long-term subs. Sources to try to get in some acceptable for positions with not much to Illinois, different universities around. I called a lot of my former colleagues in Champaign and was asking about some well-qualified second place candidates for positions they had, and stories it's Blue Ridge is not exempt from some of the staffing needs for schools right now. Putting our heads together with Dr. Stanifer and Turnbull and myself, we ended up making the decision to move some teachers to different positions to strengthen up some of what we feel academic needs in the building. Both of those teachers continue to work in their and setting up their spaces, and I'm pleased with this next school year, and then we'll kind of figure some things out as we go along.
Mm-hmm.
Our instructor has been meeting with Abby Lyons from her own company. The purpose of those meetings were to come together and look at our systems in our buildings, gathering academics and our behavioral data, and trying to kind of work it so that we're much more efficient with our collection of data and how we respond to that data. As a whole district instructional leadership team to kind of share out some of those results and look at ways that we can implement some of these vertically across the 3 campuses. Mm-hmm. So I was really pleased with some of the work that we got done today, and it's been really productive. Registration I don't have on my report, but I will say I'm very encouraged. In between my meetings, I checked in with my office staff. We're down to 6 families. I've been able to really make contact. So I plan on getting in my car and seeing if they'll fill out a registration. Maybe meet some new families. With Mansfield tomorrow and hit Farmer City on Friday. New Prince come and register. So I'm excited about those opportunities and getting all the kids back in the school. It's nice to have the teachers in there, but as the kids come in, it's going to make that building feel alive, and I can't explain my excitement for that one. Lastly, I'll talk about some great operations and maintenance work that's been going on. We had a few doors that were giving us a little bit of an issue behind, and maybe some threshold issues. They've been and they are fully operational right now, and everything's shutting well. We had 2 real mature trees right there in front of the school that we noticed were dying off and didn't produce any foliage here in the spring. There was some concerns about grass, and one of the trees that was dying, kind of some of the school. So a decision was made to remove those trees and grind out the stump. We'll figure out something to beautify that front as we move forward. In addition, we did get some wraps installed on our library windows. If you drive by there in Mansfield, you'll see the Knights letters across the top of our windows and our cool new logo there on the excited to see all the neat things going on. And there's been a lot of landscaping going around the building. And I was talking with workers to see, and they had to do some more landscaping and some more weed eating around in the back as we get ready for students to come next week. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think that's it. Brian, are you up?
All right, well done, Bert. Good job, first one. I don't have as much to say. Just like the other guys, we've been going through registration, summer school. I will say I was really impressed with the summer school because at the high school, we don't offer stuff for everybody. We just had one class, and it was math. And the kids knew that they weren't getting credit for the math, so it was really just a booster camp. And we had a dozen kids that came pretty much every day and hung out for 3 hours working on math, and I'm just kind of getting caught up on we're a little behind in from freshman year. Some of them will be going back and retaking freshman math, but they recognized that they needed some extra help in that area. So Marcus Mintier did a fantastic job with those kids. So I'm really optimistic that those kids will be more in math this year. Yeah, we were trying to figure out what to call it, because it wasn't really like summer school. We were calling it, the first idea we had was math catch-up, and I had envisioned ketchup bottle with numbers coming out of it and everything, but we didn't think kids would be too excited about wearing a math ketchup t-shirt, so we just stuck with summer school. I also want to give a shout out to Tanya Evans, because you guys got to see some of her new stuff last board meeting before the dinner stuff. Well, when we had summer school, she was doing breakfast each day, and so she was trying out some of her new breakfast recipes. Oh my goodness, man! Blueberry muffins one day had this glaze on it. I don't even know. So anyway, we're gonna do stuff for kids this year, so I'm really excited for school to get started. Questions?
Did you have a good response on the fall sports parents' night?
We successfully completed the fall sports parents' night. It was not extremely well attended. I think football had a separate meeting. They did theirs on a separate. Families there because of last minute coaching additions. I think a lot of the fall sports kids and families weren't completely aware, but we're underway. The seasons have started this week. The families register their kids online for sports. So I checked on there today, and we had 66 registrations for sports, but that's encompassing families can sign their kids up for winter and spring as well. So there were a couple kids that fell in that category, and there were a handful of junior high kids that have signed up online. And so we're going to try to work on getting those families in the habit of registering online, creating that account, and then it just becomes routine as they move forward, because then they'll continue doing that here at the high school. So that's a smoother all of the papers that they used to have to do when they came. So we're working on getting that done this week.
All right. Thank you. Any questions? All right. And the curriculum report board book, along with the technology and the maintenance, transportation, food services.
If I could, can we give us an update on doors and phones? Those are some of the biggest things, so you know where we are.
Doors and phones. We have doors and phones. Not all of the stuff get done is getting accomplished. We've got some things that haven't come in. We're also having some issues with, well, not just delays in number porting. So part of the process of switching over from one phone company to another. In order to do that, we have to take our phone numbers with us because we don't want to change phone. And that process is called porting. It can take anywhere from 72 hours to a couple of weeks. So we started the process on the 25th, I believe, and we're still waiting. So any day, check the website every day, and every day it says in progress. So unfortunately, I just don't know when that's going to take place. We do have all the phones distributed now. So all of the classrooms, offices, and everything have new phones in them. Most of them are active, and we've actually got people that are using them quite a bit. They have other phone numbers that they're using, our regular phone numbers, for making outside calls. We have people using them inner offices in the buildings, calling each other. So phones are working okay. No issues with that, but we're waiting on phone numbers to get completed. If they do not get completed, we have a plan in place to utilize the old phones temporarily until that all gets straightened out. So as far as doors go, we had some hardware is because of supply chain issues hasn't arrived. We're just waiting for that equipment to come in. We've been able to complete all the doors except for the primary entrance at the district office. Those doors are done. New cards, anybody that asked for one. All over at Schneider have also been completed with the exception of the front door. Also because we wanted to make sure everybody that needed to get into the building could get in. Mansfield started today. I think we got, I don't know if we got one door done. We had snagged with some software that we had to come back and regroup with, but we expect all the doors in Mansfield to be completed probably maybe Monday at the latest, and then we're still just waiting on a couple pieces of hardware so that we can finish up. So that's kind of where we're at. Did probably more than you wanted to know.
All right. Thank you.
And I have an O&M report.
Okay.
On your table, you have, says on the top, task, time to complete, and so on. That's the of what was included in the board report. That was packaged up on Friday. This one is fresh as of today. So you can look, for example, on the first page, about 3/4 of the way through. Can you see that there's some lighter writing high school things, such as install outlets for screen, for band fields for band camp and football practice, things that were added to the list that were not on the original plan. So I wanted Doug to be able to show you that, you know, we had a size list for the high school, for example, but many things were added on since then that have been added and completed. So that kind of impacts the amount of original list tasks that we can get. But you can look through, they're sorted by building. You can see the progress so far.
Moving to approval of consent items. Need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda items listed on attachment A as presented. So moved. Kenna? Seconds. Roll call. Yes. No old business with new business. Review the tentative 22-23 budget. We need a motion, a second to approve the budget for Blue Ridge Community Unit School District 18 for the 2022-2023 fiscal year as presented.
So moved.
Jason?
Second.
Rusty?
Yes.
Yes. Resolution to place tentative budget on display and set a time and date for the public hearing. So moved. I'm sorry, I didn't read the motion. So Dale moved and Ken is second to approve the resolution to 2023 on display in the office of the superintendent, district office 411 North John Street, Farmer City, Illinois, 61842 for 30 days for review by the public. Roll call.
Jason Nolan? Yes.
Carlos Burton?
Yes.
Hannah Johnson? Yes. Justin Leppelman? Preston Bowen?
Yes.
Francis Miller? Dale Shannon?
Yes. Approval of district liaison for, is that right?